Hello, it's Joe Eastwood again, talking about the analysis of Olympic athlete Paul Edwards' 1997 urine test for banned substances. In my job as a medicines regulatory affairs specialist, a major role was to ensure that the designs of scientific studies on the medicine were fit for purpose and checking that the data generated was valid and adequate to prove the intended study objectives. So I'm comfortable examining the report on the test of Paul's urine. There's quite a lot to unpack here, so please bear with me as the tale unfolds. Unusually, by 2003, Paul was able with great difficulty to obtain the data produced by King's College Forensics Laboratory on behalf of UK Athletics Anti-Doping for his urine analysis in June 1997. The experienced analytical expert Dr. Simon Davis of Imperial College, London, called at the KCL laboratory and was initially told only a 30-page data package was available. But by persistence, he left with over 600 pages of photocopies of the laboratory documentation of the test. Andrew Hunter MP, Paul's MP, had been concerned about the validity of Paul's conviction and encouraged examination of the data by an expert in the field of gas chromatography mass spectrometry analysis. Hence, Dr. Simon Davis was called. Dr. Davis produced a detailed report on the analytical testing carried out by the KCL laboratory, concluding that it contains so many areas of inconsistency and possible omissions, like calibration, that it should be deemed invalid and withdrawn. Other experts on reading the report concurred, and their letters recommending review were supplied with the Davis report to UK Athletics and KCL with no result. The damning Davis report is available from Paul to anyone interested, and it contains so much detail about the mistakes and bad practice that I must say I was shocked on reading it that the test was conducted so badly by a top university laboratory. It has been seen by Paul's three MPs who each asked for a new hearing for Paul. Various media outlets were also shown the report. No significant rebuttal was offered by KCL in its statements and letters from the head of the laboratory, Professor David Cowan, other than that the inference by Dr. Davis that the analysis was not calibrated was incorrect. In his letters to UK Athletics and UK Sport, under the heading Paul Edwards, Professor Cowan stated that he actually used calibration data for quantification or measurement of the result. This was not correct, as Paul eventually discovered. The disciplinary hearings had stated that without calibration, accurate quantification was not possible, but without seeing any such data, still convicted Paul on the basis of measurements of the testosterone-epitestosterone ratio. How and why, might you ask? In view of the Cowan letters and due assurances to Parliament the analytical work was sound, Paul requested copies of the unseen but vital calibration data from KCL. This led to a series of 4 different reasons for not supplying the calibration data over the next few years. The reasons given were difficulty of photocopying, breach of the athletes, that's Paul's, health and safety rights, adverse effects on the lab's commercial interests, and laughably, to preclude the possibility of aiding Paul from participating in the development of a new performance-enhancing drug. These nonsensical excuses were each dismissed in turn by the Freedom of Information investigator involved, and after the last excuse failed, KCL finally admitted in 2009 that no calibration for Paul's test was done, either for that test in June 1997 or any other urine test. They stated they possessed some calibration data run in 1997, but when asked to supply that, replied it had been destroyed. Why are we not surprised by now? You may ask why the lack of calibration was not disclosed in 1997 nor until 2009. The reason is obvious. GC mass spec analysis without calibration is invalid because without it, it is impossible to confirm that the correct substances are being identified or to measure them accurately. So leaving all other failures aside, that alone would make Paul's ban invalid, being based on nothing but the notion he was guilty and a decision to ban him regardless of the evidence. UK Athletics and UKCL were repeatedly asked to withdraw the ban based on the absence of any valid scientific evidence against Paul, but always refused, citing time elapsed and rules, not laws, allowing them to refuse reopening the case. This despite the years of time spent by Paul in trying to get to the bottom of the calibration misinformation, which was entirely due to their procrastination and the offering of false excuses for not supplying data that they knew had never been generated. As medicine's regulatory specialist, I can confirm that the test on which Paul's conviction was based was worthless, due to several serious failings and was in any case invalidated by the failure to generate mandatory calibration data. Had this test come to my desk in connection with my company's medicines marketing authorization application, I would have without hesitation rejected it and told the laboratory to repeat the work properly. We must ask, why will the authorities not act on the plain and obvious facts? We're dealing with an innocent man's life and reputation here, not a technicality, and protection of publicly perceived high scientific reputation and fairness in sports administration by the authorities are not excuses for maintaining this dreadful masquerade of justice. Next, I'll look into the decades-long struggle Paul has had to get any sense of a fair hearing or just treatment. You will not be amused.